This is the ultimate way to cook chips at home. All right, now you've washed your chips and you filled your pot with cold water, let's cut these up. So you want to make one cut in half, like so, pretty easy. And then you want to split those in half again. And then from there, all you're going to do is make one more cut down the middle. And then you'll see you get the perfect wedge. So as you cut one, you chuck it in the water. That way it helps it from going black. All right, so now you've cut all your chips, you got them into your water. First thing you want to do is swap that water out because that's been collecting all that starch. So you want to dump that out and then do a fresh batch. So you can watch me awkwardly lift this out and spill it all over the floor, lovely. And then before you put a new batch of water in, what you can do is you can then salt your chips and put a bit of baking soda in. So the baking soda helps them crack up a bit and that'll give you that nice crunchiness. So you want quite a few pinches of salt going in. Good 3 or 4. And then for baking soda, you don't need a whole lot. You just want to do a little touch. It's probably about 2 teaspoons roughly. And then yeah, fill that with cold water and we'll be back for the next step. All right, so you want to get your pot onto the heat, full blast on this. So get your hob on, full heat, just like that. And then you can put the lid on, that'll speed up the boiling process a bit. All right, so how are we doing now? Yeah, this is ready for the lid to come off, and then we want to watch it really carefully because you want them to be fork tender, but if they go too far, it's going to be an absolute nightmare to try to put them into the oven. So now we want to give this a stir, and maybe 5-6 minutes start testing them with a knife to see if that knife's going to go through. All right, so with your potatoes bubbling away, you want to get your oven on preheat. So I say for chips, usually about 425 is what you want to do. You want to put the baking sheet in the oven while it's preheating. That way it doesn't give you that shock to the pan. So put that in first, and then we're going to chuck the oil in about 10 minutes when these chips are closer. And in the meantime, get a drink because now you've been cooking potatoes for like 40 minutes and you're wondering, why am I doing this? So they're coming up really nicely to temp. All right, so the knife is just starting to go through, and I want to pull this in about 20 seconds because any longer and you're going to have mush. All right, so our chips are out. We're gonna give these a minute before shaking them. Just helps them set a bit. If you start just ruffling these all up and shaking them, you are just gonna have a mess of potato and starch everywhere. You don't want that. So you're gonna wanna use canola oil or any high smoke point oil because you're gonna get this so hot in the oven. You don't wanna use something like olive oil because you might have a lot of smoke and have a fire, which you never really want. So a good amount, a healthy amount of oil here because those chips are gonna just soak that up. All right, so these have been cooling off for about 2 minutes, so we want to give them a gentle shake just to ruffle them a little bit. You don't want to go too firm, otherwise, like I said, you're just going to end up with mash. But what you want is what you can get here, where you see there's a few different bits coming off, a bit flaky. That's going to crisp up really nicely when you chuck these in the oven with that hot oil. So one trick, if you want to see if your oil's hot enough, chuck a tiny bit of water onto the oil, and if it spits a bit, you know you're good to go. So let's take this out. And you want to be really careful because this is quite hot now. You got your really hot oil. Throw this on top, shut your oven up, and then we want to come over with our chips and get this right into that oil. So be careful when you're doing this because this can splatter quite a lot. So you want to do it away from yourself. And we'll just go slowly, and you'll hear the sound of oil splashing everywhere. At this point, I'm realizing this pan is too small for this, but we're just going to go for it anyway. So you want to throw these all in. Try to get them as flat as possible. It's a bit hard when you got so many in one pan. Typically do this with less. It will come out better. So all our chips are in. Now you want to throw some salt on and whack these into the oven. About 50 minutes in, we just rotated, didn't flip them, but just rotated the pan. As you can see, they're coming along nice. All right, so it's been about 45 minutes, and this is the color we're getting. Like I said, when you have this many on a pan, you get a bit of unevenness, especially with an oven as well. But here's where we are, and probably another 10-15 minutes, and these will all have a nice bit of a crisp on them, and we're good to go. All right, so our chips just came out the oven. So let's hit them with some salt. Shouldn't need too much. This is a coarser salt. It's going to give a little bit of that. because they're already nice and salted from being in the oven. And a bit of black pepper. That should do us. Give that a nice toss. You can hear how crunchy they are. And now let's give one a taste. Absolutely perfect, super fluffy but crunchy at the same time. Can't go wrong, and that's the best chip recipe.